Good morning, everyone. So I'm making some corned beef hash because we have just a little bit of potatoes and corned beef left over. So I've got my skillet warming up, and I'm going to use our leftover potatoes and corned beef. And in my this is my manual food processor. If I can think this morning, I have some onion and some green peppers. So I'm just going to get those diced up, and the more that I push on this, the finer it's going to get. And you can see, still a little chunky, so I'm going to go a little bit more. All right, so that's better. It's more of diced. So I am just going to put those in my skillet. I've got my cast iron skillet over here, and I have my oven warming up. So I'm just basically going to cook my onion and pepper for probably 5 minutes or so. These are kind of fine, so it might not take as long. And then I'm going to, in the process while this is cooking, I'm going to cut up my potatoes. The recipe actually called for frozen potatoes, but I have real potatoes that are left over, so that's what I'm going to use. My onion is starting to make me cry. One of the little tips that I saw, and it does work when you're cutting onion on your cutting mat, if you stick a wet paper towel, it absorbs the secretions that come out of the onion that will make your eyes water. The paper towel will try to absorb it for you, which is good. So we've got our onion in here. Oh, and I turned my skillet off. And there's my puppy, who just had its first wild kill, actually, in our yard, killed a bird. So we had to take it away from Bentley, who is, 8 weeks old, already killing stuff in the yard. And now I'm going to get my potatoes cut. So we were talking about having a sharp knife and how important it is in your kitchen. So one of the things that you can do to make sure that your knife is sharp is to have a honing tool. So what this is going to do is this is going to take the edge of your blade as you cut and you work with it, it splits apart like this, and it's supposed to be all together like that, and that's what makes it sharp and makes it cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to turn it slightly on the side, and I'm going to do this side 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to do this side 1, 2, 3. That's going to align all of that metal back up so that it has a sharper point to cut with. And then I'm just going to dice these up. They're the ones that were in my crock pot when we cooked our corned beef and cabbage and carrots. So we've got some yummy flavor. We've got our onion and pepper over here, cooking up nicely. So then once I get the potatoes in and the corned beef, then I'm going to add in seasoning, and I'm going to use the, I've got some of our here, garlic and herb seasoning that I'm going to put on there. And then it's going to go in the oven when I'm going to put 4 eggs on the top, and then we're going to bake it in the oven for 10 minutes. So this is going to be a good breakfast. Most of the time, I've eaten corned beef hash, but it's been out in a restaurant. I've never made it myself. So this is an easy way to use up our leftovers and have some breakfast. It's Saturday morning. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do. We just had to figure out one of our other dogs was escaping in the fence, so we got that taken care of. So when I do any cooking in my kitchen, I will jump on and do videos, and this is how I get an income in our house. It works out really well for us. Anything that I buy at the store as far as using in a video, I write off, which is great. So I'm writing off the food that I'm cooking for our family, and we're having to eat anyway, so why not, right? So I get paid to cook, eat, and party. What do you do for work? I know Jamie works at a daycare, so she has to wrangle toddlers all day. Shout out and let me know, what do you do? Do you cook when you come home at night? Do you have a plan? Do you plan ahead? Does that make it easier for you? Most of the time, if you plan ahead, it does make it easier. At least if you have some sort of thought in your mind. The quick cooker is good for when you don't think, and you have frozen food that you walk home to. You can throw your food in the quick cooker frozen, and you can have your meal on the table in under an hour, even when you flake and forget. So that's a good bonus. I've got to put some more oil in my pan. And then I'm going to add in the potatoes. Said add in 3 tablespoons. That's about 3 tablespoons. I measure and sometimes I don't measure. Okay. So we've got that good and sizzling. Now I just want to do just the potatoes at this point. I'm just going to toss them in. Now I could take the flexible mat and dip, and I'll do that when I want to put the corned beef in there. I will just go ahead and put the mat, flex it, and dump it right in. All right, so then it's wanting us on medium-high just to let that cook a little bit, which my potatoes, sorry, my potatoes are not frozen. Somebody must be walking by. That's what happens at my house. Dog crazy mania. Okay, so here's one of my measuring spoons. So this is our garlic and herb rub. Now I can put this right in here and scoop out my seasoning. It fits right in there, and I'm right down to the end. And I have another one of these in my stock, thank goodness. So I'm just going to sprinkle this over our potatoes. This is the garlic and herb. And let me see. So if you didn't have this, let's see. We've got garlic, rosemary, parsley, black pepper, onion, and salt. So it's just got a variety of different things in it. Okay. So it said to let it cook undisturbed. I just want to make sure we don't have anything. Now this would be for frozen potatoes, so they're going to give off some water, which ours aren't frozen, so they're not going to give off any water. But I do want to see, yep, it's browning really good. You can see it. So I'm just going to turn it a little bit. All right. Oh, there's my little bird killer. What's the matter with you? Mom's cooking and he's not getting any. That's what the problem is. Okay, so now we're going to put in, I'm going to put in the corned beef. And we don't have very much. Actually, I think the recipe called for 1.5 cups, which, as you can tell, we ate it all. We only have a little bit left over. Okay, so I'm going to kill the heat on this now. I'm going to get out my eggs. And I'm going to put those in. I'm going to put 4 of them in, and then the oven should be almost ready at 350 degrees. And in the oven, it's going to go for about 10 minutes. So I'm lucky because I have a friend that I buy fresh eggs from. So fortunate. So our yolks are super, super, super orange. All right, so you pop in 4 eggs. How cool is this? And you can see I even have a carrot in there. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to salt and pepper the tops. I need to wash my hands before I get my salt and pepper going here. Okay. So these are another adjustable measuring spoon, and I'm going to use this so you can push these up and down depending on what size you need or how much you need, and they adjust accordingly. And I typically use these when I'm using my salt and pepper containers. It's easy to scoop in. Just put a little bit of salt in here. I don't want to put too much. Some pepper. All right, and into the oven it's going to go. And I will drop back in and say hello and show you what it looks like when it gets done. I hope everybody's having a great day. Thanks for watching.